And we are back for a special Packer episode of Fun Football Podcast. It's funny, I just did a movie one. I've never done that back to back. I just recorded the second episode of Fun Films Podcast, but this is a Packers panel. I'm really excited to bring Sounds Gouda back. And we've got John Meerdink from Blue 58 or the Power Sweep. I'm going to go to, you know what, man, just because it's a chicken time here. How are you doing, dude? Gouda? How are you been, man?
Good.
It's been like a year, dude. It's nice to see your face, man.
Yeah.
Came out a couple times last year.
Doing really well. We made it out of the off season. We're back to week one. Finally got the monkey off our back in Detroit. We've been kicking our butts, pretty heavily for the last 3 years. So, yeah, I'm really excited, man. I'm really hoping this year is going to be a special one. So, thanks for having me on.
I think it's already going to be a special one because it's not every day that you go land a Micah Parsons. And I got to hit my sponsors in a second after we go to John, but it's not every year you land a Micah Parsons and the expectations raise right before the season. We've never made a trade like that. So this is already a unique season. Even if we don't go on a Super Bowl run, I think we're in for something special already. And then to start with the cherry on top of beating the Lions in Lambeau, where they've owned us for a few years, that felt great. But before we get into the Packer game, we're going to talk about the Thursday night game too. We've also got John here as well from Blue 58. Big fan of your work, both of you guys. Seriously, Sounds good, man. It's been awesome watching your pod take off this year. Seriously, and John, how you doing, man?
Good to be here, doing well, and still kind of basking in the afterglow of the win on Sunday. I was just thinking, I'm gonna be climbing the walls on Sunday because after the game on Sunday that we had, only 4 or 5 days later, getting another game, and then having to go 10 days before the Packers play again, it's going to be awful, but I guess we get front loaded this year.
And I'm going to be honest with you guys. I've caught the highlights and I've read on it. I had my daughter and I have Sunday Ticket, but where I am, it was nationally broadcast and I don't have Fox. I actually was just having to watch the sucker on my phone, get calls, get texts while I'm at the park playing with my 6-year-old. I actually didn't get to watch this game. I was pretty sad because it was a special game. I caught the highlights. I actually went and read the game log. So I knew it happened play by play. I've read probably like 7 different articles on it, listened to a podcast about it. From everything I've heard, we looked great. My dad's here listening. Thanks, buddy. Okay, really quick, before we go into sponsors or anything else, John, can you tell everybody where to find your podcast and a little bit about yourself, man? The floor is yours.
Sure. Blue 58 is the name of the show. It's wherever you listen to podcasts. So just search Blue 58 wherever you want to find it. Even if you head over to thepowersweep.com, which is the website that hosts the show, that's where you can track it down. As far as me, I've been doing this since 2016 as the show. We're up to about 922 episodes. That'll be the next one we record. Actually, right as soon as I'm done with this, I'm going to hop on my show and record that. We upload shows twice a week, 3 times during the season for a post-game show in there. And I think it's a lot of fun. The idea is that we're trying to be smarter about the way that we talk about the Packers and really go in depth on a lot of the research about the team itself and opposing teams and things like that. So come on, give us a listen.
Great breakdown. That is impressive, man. I'm at 2 years. So good for you, dude. That's pretty awesome.
If you want to get 9 years, you got to do 2 years. So you're off to a good start.
Yeah, I'm at like the 2-year anniversary in like I think 2 or 3 weeks. I started late September of 23, and it's been fun. I didn't expect it to become anything, and I'm excited people are actually watching now, so I appreciate it. Gouda, man, it was fun doing this last year with you. I had a blast then. To everybody to find your pod, you also had Andy Herman on. I watched that episode. I had him on back in July. That was a great episode. Tell everybody about your show. And Watson just signed an extension. I'm going to go check that out in a second. But Gouda, yeah, I'll check that out. Tell everybody where to find your show, what you got coming up, anything you want, man. Floor's yours.
Yeah, Sounds Gouda with 1 A is on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. My X handle is Sounds Gouda with 3 A's. As you can imagine, the 1 A and both the 2 A's were taken, so that's why I had to do the 3 A's, if you're wondering that kind of quip on it. But me and my best friend, we've been best friends ever since high school, Jordan Olson. I moved up to Wisconsin in 2004. and was really into sports. We rode the bench together in high school basketball, so that's where I got to end up meeting him. And he's really the one that got me into Packers and to Green Bay Packers. He was born and raised in La Crosse, Wisconsin. I was kind of a military family, moving around everywhere. I was born and raised in Phoenix, Arizona, lived in Utah, New Mexico, Turkey, and eventually found a home here in Wisconsin in 2004. So Wisconsin's home to me. I bleed the green and gold, and ever since, I've just been a diehard. And Jordan and I have talked a lot of Packers football over the years, and I've been begging him for years and decades, actually, to do a Packers podcast. And finally, last year, I was able to convince him to do that. So we do put out 2 new episodes every Wednesday and Saturday on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcast. So that's where you can find our work. And then on X too, Sounds Gouda with 3 A's, and Jordan is at Olsen Jordan. So.
Very cool. And you guys know where to find me. I'm on TikTok. This show should be live on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Really quick. Watson didn't sign an extension really fast. Thank you to Undefeated Live for sponsoring the show. They will be coming on Friday. Art Vigil. It's a free app. You just use Fun Football Pod. My wife did it last night. You can win free prizes. It's very cool. And to Sportcoin, I appreciate you guys sponsoring the show. First world's sport cryptocurrency. It's also on X at Sportcoin1, as well as Undefeated Live. Okay, really quick. Christian Watson did sign a 1-year, $13.25 million contract extension that just happened. I just did an hour show. I usually don't do that, but yes, he did just sign an extension, which is very interesting. That wasn't where I was going to go with this show at all. You guys have any quick thoughts on that one? It's interesting that we locked him up for 1 more year to see what he is after the ACL, in my opinion.
I would say it's probably going to be pretty cheap here. So the 13 point whatever million dollars looks like a bigger number than it probably is, but you got to keep in mind this is an extension. This is not a new deal. So guaranteed money is going to be split over 2 seasons.
6 probably.
So if you're looking at, call it 6.5 there just to make the numbers even, 6.5 on top of whatever he's getting this year. I'm pulling up Spot Track as we're talking.
Oh, you're on it, man.
But like it's not going to be a big cap hit here for the deals that it is. So you're probably looking at a cap hit of under $10 million over 2 years. His cap hit is just under 3 this year. So maybe a little bit higher this year, fairly low next year. That seems like a pretty low risk contract for what he is when he's healthy.
They did the same, and it's funny. I love that you brought up how the contracts work, because we did the same thing with Josh Jacobs. We signed him to a 4-year, $48 million deal, so $12 million a year. But his actual base salary for this year is, you've got Spot Track, I believe it was like 5.3, 5.6. It's much lower. That's how the NFL works. I kind of like it because the way we want to push the ball downfield, we need a bigger bodied guy who can fly. And if he comes back effectively off the ACL, this gives us another look at him in 2026. So I like it. Low, like you said, it's not really 13 mil. What do you think, Gouda?
Yeah, great for the Packers. Solid signing. I'm really interested to see how he comes in and operates in this offense. Him and Matthew Golden specifically give a little bit more of that vertical speed, even though Matthew Golden's got some of that horizontal and a really good route runner. I think it's good for the Packers. It gives some security there. We got a ton of weapons, and we just secured another one here for not that much money, right? So, and he's a good player when he's healthy. So,
exactly, when he's healthy. My concern is the health. I don't know if he's ever going to be healthy the way I'd like, but okay, let's get into this game. So we got the monkey off our back in Detroit, facing Detroit. The stats I don't even think do the story justice here. We throttled Detroit from start to finish. Our defense, which was, I think, if you were a big gambling man, I don't think anybody in the world would have put money on Detroit running for less than 50 yards after we let go Kenny Clark. If that's a sign of things to come, man, because I mean, the Lions did lose 2 offensive linemen and their offensive coordinator. So that's a huge blow, but they still have Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. So to do that week 1, I was extremely impressed. Micah Parsons, when he was on the field, was impactful. Even when he wasn't, it seemed to just rise all tides. That was not the performance I expected. If we won, I was thinking it'd be a shootout, and it wasn't. I've got a lot more thoughts. I want to kick it to you guys. Why don't we go we'll go Gouda and then John, and then we'll go the next question will hit John and then Gouda. What were you most surprised by in the week 1 performance, and what were your thoughts overall beating the Lions?
I mean, it was good to get the monkey off our back. The defense was really flying around, had a lot of great energy and effort flying to the ball. There was a lot of good excitement there with Micah Parsons coming in, even in his limited snaps. He made an immediate impact on one of the best, probably, the best right tackle in football in Penei Sewell. Immediately creating some pressures, getting that chase down sack, which was absolutely epic. And what I really loved about this too is Jeff Hafley will still disguise, right? He'll bring some people up, maybe double mug over the center on both sides. And then, maybe one's coming, maybe both are coming back. They rushed a lot of 4 and covered with 7, which I noticed. I think they only blitzed him maybe on 4 or 44 dropbacks for Jared Goff. So that was amazing when you got 2 really good linebackers that got speed too, and Quay Walker and Adrian Cooper. Adrian Cooper, man, second year in, he is just an absolute stud.
He's going to be good.
Put on a little bit of weight. He was pretty good there in the run game too. I loved a lot of the disguises too, especially in the Evan Williams pick too, where it looked like a cover 1 up there with Evan Williams, but then they disguised it to go back to where it was cover 3, and Evan Williams came down and shot that guy in the flat, and Jared Goff had no idea that was coming. And that was a good part too, with Parsons getting that pressure on the inside and Penei Sewell. So, man, I mean, the concept of rush 4 and cover with 7 is your 4 have to get home, right? So you bring in an elite edge rusher like Micah Parsons that can do that, even in his limited snaps with that energy and effort. It just elevates everybody else's game. You saw that with Lucas Van Ness too. What did he have? 4 pressures in weeks 1 through 8 last year in total, and this game he had 4 pressures and a sack. It frees up everybody else to be able to make some plays. You get some more one-on-ones. Rashawn Gary's not going to be able to get chipped as much. It helps your questionable secondary, which a lot of Packers fans were worried about coming into this season, because it speeds up the other opposing offenses by another second or 2. So, man, I mean, just from a defensive standpoint, Colby Wooden too. Like, I thought maybe potentially he could have been a roster cut candidate for this year. But, looking at the PFF grades, watching a little bit of the all 22 and Colby Wooden, he stood his ground. Now, was he absolutely elite? Probably not, but man, he did a hell of a job for this Packers defense. And then Devontae Wyatt over there too. I said this last year. I thought he was going to have his breakout year. I think he's just an absolute stud if he can stay healthy. And then, they're coming out with unique cheetah packages, which has reminiscence of your NASCAR days with Julius Peppers back in 2014, right? So, I love it, man. It just opens up all the possibilities. And overall, just in general, the execution of this game, the not as many penalties, catching the football. I think Jaden Reed only had that 1 drop. Just to talk about the offense for a second, was just absolutely incredible. And then putting your foot on the gas for this offense, specifically in the first half, to be able to go up 17-3 really helped us.
Kind of to inverse what you're saying there a little bit, the execution was great, at an overall level. But I think the thing that I took away from this game is that the schemes that the Packers have are working. The plans that they have are working. If you look at the history of this coaching tree that Jeff Hafley comes from, Robert Saleh, even some Dan Quinn sort of stuff, their zone defense on the back half, drop 7 as often as you can and try to get pressure with 4. That's how the scheme is supposed to work. It worked that way on Sunday. Unless Goff was getting pressured quickly, he got a chance to stand back there and look, but there was nowhere to go because the Packers had 7 guys in coverage, and they were just able to blanket the guys that the Lions had out there in the field. So the scheme is working, and the same on offense. The things that they were trying to do did not always produce spectacular results, but they produced consistent results. And I think that's the kind of offense the Packers need to be, at least here early in the season, while they integrate some of the new pieces. They were really a boom or bust offense last year. They produced explosive plays or 3 and outs. If they can be the sort of team that just grinds the ball down the field a little bit more this season, that's a big step in the right direction for me. In terms of surprises, I think there were a couple personnel surprises in this game. First, at least for week 1, Chris Brooks was clearly RB2 for the Packers. Emmanuel Wilson had held that job down all last season, but Brooks dramatically outsnapped him in this game.
Mhm.
Wilson only got a couple of token snaps at the end, just 2 snaps total. But the Packers had Brooks out there for a couple of 2-back sets. He was their lead blocker on a couple of plays, and he was even out there by himself when they needed to give Josh Jacobs a breather. I was also a little surprised that when Zach Tom got hurt, the first tackle off the bench wasn't Anthony Belton. It
Right.
Wasn't that surprising?
It was Darian Kennard,
Yeah.
the guy that the Packers did not ever play in the preseason because they didn't acquire him until after the 3rd preseason game. I don't think that's
Former
really...
Eagle, right? He was the one from the Eagles, right? And the
Yeah.
Chiefs?
Yep. Chiefs and Eagles sort of guy. I don't think it's an indictment of Anthony Belton, really, but it's kind of hard not to read it as at least a small one because he's a 2nd-round pick that you were training at right tackle all throughout training camp. Now the first time that you need one, you play a guy that's literally never played in a game or anything resembling a game. So some small surprises there, but overall, it was what you hoped to see from this Packers team.
You guys are cooking, man. This is great. I'm loving all this. Seriously, great breakdown. I'm hoping to see a little more Nazir Stackhouse. Jason, what's up, buddy? Thanks for watching, dude. Seriously, I appreciate you. This is gonna be you're gonna love this show because we're talking all about the Packers. I would love to see a little more Nazir Stackhouse, but I think one of my most pleasant surprises was that Lucas Van Ness was effective when he was on the field, and Rashawn Gary benefited the most from Micah Parsons was the other thing I saw. That was surprising with the Anthony Belton move. I would have expected him to be the first one out there, but I think you nailed it, John. It's a little bit of indictment on Belton, but it was also his first game. And the Packers tend to like to bring these guys on slowly. Unless they're forced to, they don't like to throw rookies out there, even high draft picks. They just defensively, offensively, it's under Matt LaFleur. Typically, there's been some exceptions to the rule, but typically we're not putting first-year players out there. There was a lot more that you guys said there. That was great. That was a big surprise for me too, but I'm hoping what we saw from Van Ness is just a sign of things to come. I'm hoping that what getting Micah Parsons does and having a Rashawn Gary who I think can fit into his role as a secondary pass rusher. I'm hoping that we can see more of this from Lucas Van Ness because to have a tackle for a loss and half a sack in the first game, that's against Detroit is pretty effective. The other thing you said, John and Rob, that I liked was that we need more long drives. We need to be able to not just hit the long play, even though we did that in this game as well. But we need those drives where we're not just relying on Josh Jacobs, where we can move the ball down the field, through the ground, through the play action, and through the passing game. I heard you say this on your show, John. You said it was 3 and longs, and we were 3 for 3, right? I was listening to your show today.
I didn't go back and verify those stats, but the Packers only converted 4 of 10 third downs, but 3 of the 4 were 3rd and longs. And
that's
3rd and long is a squishy number, but back when Nathaniel Hackett was with the Packers, he said that internally they consider 3rd and manageable at 6 yards or less, and anything longer than that is 3rd and long. So I'd look at 3rd and 7 or more in every game. And I think by my in-game charting, they were 3 for 3 on all of their 3rd and long opportunities. You can say that maybe they should have been better on 3rd and short. Okay, sure, yeah, that's fine. But they did convert some tough situations, especially on that first drive. They had 2 third down conversions that were that were 7 yards plus. They had a 3rd and 9 and a 3rd and 10 that they converted. So it's a step in the right direction there.
And we also I know we scored 10 points in the fourth quarter, but we were in a situation where we're up 27-6. We didn't need points in the fourth. We could have to put a stamp on it. Yeah, we hit that a minute ago, Jason, the contract extension. I like it. We didn't need to score 30, 35 points. So I think we asked of Jordan Love, he did effectively. I do want to see that 3rd and shorts be more effective. Jacobs only averaged 3.5 yards a carry. Detroit was focused on stopping him, as a lot of teams are going to be, until Jordan Love proves it. Based on what they saw last season, Josh Jacobs is going to be the focal point of defenses. So the fact that he still was solid and that our offense was effective, I think is a good sign against a defense that, frankly, unless they've dropped off significantly from last year, they should be no slouch, especially now that they're healthy. I know it's not the same defense that you're seeing that was in the divisional round of the playoffs with, you guys might remember better than me. How many starters did they have out last year? Wasn't it like 9 defensive starters they were down at some point? I mean,
was a
they
lot.
lost guys and then
Wow.
backups to those guys.
Yeah.
They lost like an entire line of defense and then some of the backups. So
And they still played good. They played really well.
15-2 last year.
Exactly. I'm expecting a drop off because you lost Aaron Glenn, who was the heart and soul of that defense. But you got Hutchinson coming back. Rob, I'm going to come to you here. What any other takeaways? I mean, I could hit this game for like an hour and a half. I was so pleasantly surprised with so many facets of this game. I thought Love was really sharp when we needed him to be. I was encouraged by Romeo Dubs. He was engaged in the game. Baika brought a presence and an energy to the team that we desperately needed. There's so many things. What else did you take away?
The play of the offensive line being able to give Jordan Love
there we go
for to complete those third and longs. John, to use bringing that up. There was some unique blitzes too. I believe they also did some stuff up the middle that Josh Jacobs was able to pick up on really well. That helped us out quite a bit. I was watching a little bit of Elton Jenkins there at center too as well. I was wondering how much they were going to get Matthew Golden involved. He did have the 2 catches. He caught both those 2 balls, which is really good. But just watching some of his tape where he wasn't being targeted, man, that guy's time is coming. It is coming, and it's going to be phenomenal to watch. Mm-hmm. You're spreading the ball around. I think 10 different people ended up catching the ball. Jane Reed got the most targets. Romeo Dobbs, that kind of security blanket for Jordan Love. They had some really good plays. They were picking on Terry on quite a bit too, which you love to see. He's the one that got on that rub route to get Jaden Reed open there for the touchdown. So that was amazing to see. Jordan Love puts an absolute dime to Tucker Kraft.
Yes,
I think Tucker Kraft is going to have a George Kittle-esque type of career. That's my 110% biased take on that. I love Tucker Kraft. Man, if Luke Musgrave can come in and he can catch the ball and he cannot stumble while he's doing it, I think just offense, man. Like if you execute, if you limit the penalties, if you catch the football, if you can try to continue to run the football, build off play action, this team just, to me, and Andy Herman put it really well too, I feel like this team operates the best as a pass first, run second complementary type of team. Now I get you just want to be in the most advantageous type of situations, take the play and do what makes the most sense for what the opposing team's defense is doing. But man, like if your offensive line can continue to hold up like that, everybody and their brother is going to be able to get open and we're going to be able to score some points.
Well, I'm hoping they can open up more running lanes, but where we lost last year, and this is where you win in the NFL, and you guys can disagree if you want to. I feel like you win in the trenches, and we lost last year in the trenches on both sides of the ball. Jordan Love was under duress against the elite defenses. When Hutch was available, we had problems against that defense the first go round. We played better against them offensively the second go round, but we couldn't. Our defense, we had no pass rush, and we couldn't stop the run against Philly, Minnesota, and Detroit last year. It's just the truth, hard truth. And our first test, and it's our only test that we've had this year, I do think we have a chance in the NFC. I'm going to get into that. But we owned both lines of scrimmage. That is a flip from last year. We went out and got Aaron Banks. You got another year of Jordan Morgan experience. You're moving Elton Jenkins to center, or that was the plan, But the offensive line looks upgraded. They went and spent draft capital and free agency money on it. And then clearly on defense, you go get Micah Parsons. But what was shocking is that you let go of Kenny Clark, who helped us against the run. And then our run defense looked better, which I was kind of curious if it would, because I like Colby Wooden. But I was curious if the jump from Edgerrin Cooper, the presence Micah Parsons was going to have, was going to be enough in the run defense. That was one of my questions. And through 1 week, we're third in EPA allowed, and our defense was outstanding against the run week 1. It's only small sample size. But I was extremely encouraged. I need to lead to a question here. I was extremely encouraged. I've got a lot of thoughts. I was extremely encouraged by the fact that we won in both line. Our offensive line won and our defensive line won. If that is a sign of things to come, we're going to be a very, very difficult team to beat this season if we're winning on the offensive and defensive lines, because that was not the case last year. All right. What do you guys think? Gouda, Rob, you talked about this with Andy. Do you think that championship expectations are realistic, or what are you hoping for now after beating the Lions?
I mean, it's really early.
I know, man.
Really
early.
We got Washington this week.
I know. I'm optimistic for sure, but we have such a gauntlet of a schedule, along with the rest of the NFC North, right? I'd be really happy if we come out of this with 10, 11 wins, if that's even possible. So, I mean, yeah, injuries, execution, Christian Watson coming back, how he's going to play with the element of all these other great options on the offensive side of the ball. I think that'll be exciting to see. But we have, I think we have an elite defense. If people can stay healthy, I think we have the makeup of what Jeff Hafley really wants to utilize, coming back to your John, of his roots of where he came from. And if we can continue to rush mix up coverages, send unique timing on blitzes, and disguise it really well, yeah, I think that's going to give a lot of fits. And then, Jordan Love's got to continue to play elite, right? He's got to stay healthy. He's got to hit his intermediate and deep passes. They have to catch the football. They have to mix it up. I'm super excited, but I'm also trying to timid my.
I know. I'm trying not to. I had to go post some silly stuff that I want to see more of. But after Washington, there is a few weeks that are interesting. We have Cleveland, Dallas, a bye, Cincinnati, Arizona, Pittsburgh, Carolina. I'm a fan, and I do this for fun. I'm a podcaster, but I think the first half is a lot easier than the second half of the schedule, where you get Philly, Minnesota, Detroit again, Denver, Baltimore. You have to go to Minnesota and Chicago. That's going to get harder. And you have to go to Detroit on Thanksgiving. They're going to want revenge too. So I agree. I want to see progress, but man, that defense looks special. John, what do
you guys like? Way nicer than I am.
Oh, you're going to be harsh.
Championship expectations are not a nice to have thing. They are mandatory. That is the bar this year. This season is Super Bowl or bust. Next season is Super Bowl or bust. The year after that is Super Bowl or bust.
That's why you get Micah Parsons.
If the Packers do not win a Super Bowl this year, next year, the year after, these 3 years are failures. That is the standard for this season. Whether or not they will is the question. They can, they have the talent, they should. That's the expectation here. Because look at where the roster is right now. Josh Jacobs is only under contract through 2027. The only wide receivers who are under contract in 2027 right now are Matthew Golden and Savion Williams. The only tight ends who are under contract through 2026 are Luke Musgrave and Tucker Kraft. The offensive line is going to turn over significantly after 2027. Rashawn Gary's cap hit spikes to $31 million by 2027. It just down and down. Like this is the window. This is it. Like this is it right now. This is the team that is going to win the Super Bowl in the Brian Gutekunst era. If it's going to happen, it's right now. This is the next window that's open. So the expectation absolutely has to be Super Bowl. There's no, we get to the divisional round and we feel pretty good about the steps we took as a team. No, now is the time. Jordan Love is in year 6 now. There's no youth excuses. There's not even he's new to the starting job stuff anymore. The offense, they got the pieces they needed. They've got the new receiver in Matthew Golden. They've got a developmental prospect in Savion Williams. They've got an elite tight end. They've got other pieces around there. They've got an elite offensive line. Everything is there. There are no other excuses. This is it. It's win the Super Bowl or quit. That's all. That's all that you get. So, yeah, it needs to be Super Bowl or bust right now. In my intro to the Week 1 podcast, I talked about that for Brian Gutekunst. He's gotten 2 big cracks at things here. Now he's taken the Micah Parsons deal, and he drafted Jordan Love. He's rolled the dice. This is his play, and if he doesn't win, I think that's the defining situation of his era.
I'm going to hang out with John a little bit more these days. He's going to be pumped up.
I'm hoping that it happens this season. We got to remember, even when we got Reggie White and we had a young Brett Favre, it took a few years. We got him in 93. We didn't win it till his 4th season in Green Bay, ironically, because we ran into the Cowboys 3 times. Philly is still there. they're the team I'm concerned about if we are better than Detroit. It sure looks like it, but I think Detroit will overcome the coordinators a little better than that, hopefully for them. But I think that they were our biggest challenger in the NFC North. I think you can see the Bucs and the Rams in the NFC as well, but I think it's the Eagles. I think they're the target. And I think I'm with you, man. I think like it needs to happen soon because we got all these young guys under contract and they're going to get more expensive if we don't get this done quickly. My only thing is on the roster, there's only 2 spots I see that I'm a little concerned about. Our corners look pretty good week 1. I'm a little concerned it's a little bit of a thin room. And if there was an opportunity to go get a veteran receiver, because our receivers are so damn banged up, that may be a move in the future. If there was a guy to snag for a reasonable deal, I wouldn't be opposed to it because it seems like our receivers are perpetually injured. Jaden Reed's playing with a freaking broken foot, bone in his foot. You got Watson still injured. That would be my only thing, but it wasn't a problem week 1. And with our defense, it may not be as big of a concern as last year. It's just in the playoffs, those things do matter. Philly still has an A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith. The Chiefs are dealing with this receiver problem right now with Worthy out and Rice out. They're going to struggle. Kelsey's not the same guy. Luckily, we have a Tucker Kraft and a Josh Jacobs, but the receiver is the one area I want to see if Golden, the addition of him and Savion was enough or not. That is my biggest question mark with this team now. If the run defense is solid, it's receiver and corner. I don't have a lot of other holes in the roster. I don't know how you guys feel. That'd be the only things I could pick and like nitpick with. Because when I look at our receiver room stacked up against some of the other even teams in the division, I see us as that is the glaring weakness of the team, even though I like some of the pieces.
I don't know if I'd go so far as to call receiver a weakness. I think it's something that needs to come along quickly.
Yes.
They need Golden to be good this year. You can't wait until 2027 for him to be good. I think you're right on the money with the defensive back stuff, though. The corner is a real weakness. You're 1 or 2 injuries away from having to play Bull Melton significant snaps at corner. And as great a story as that is, I'm not sure I'm ready to see, to ride the Bo Melton starting NFL cornerback ride yet.
Is Gilmore still out there as a free agent? Because that's the type of move. The Amari Cooper would have been one, if he has anything left in the tank, might have been solid for the receiver room. But the DB, like if Gilmore's out there, I don't know why you don't go take a flyer on him. He was solid last year. I know he's aging, but if your window is this season and you've put all your money in, you went in the draft and you took swings at receiver, which is something you haven't done. The philosophy has changed to win now. We're playing poker. They're all in. But they left a few chips back, but they're mostly all in. I would love for any remaining chips, if we have any, to go all in and go get a Gilmore. And we took the swing on Micah. That's the biggest swing you can possibly take. We went out and got the lineman, which made a difference for us week 1. Kennard played. I don't want to leave anything on the table. If DB's thin, you just nailed it, John. 1 injury, Micah Robinson's going to be playing or Bo Melton. That's not a situation I want against a Philadelphia, against a Cincinnati. I don't want that situation. Those receivers are going to burn our corners outside of Nixon. Hobbs is better in the slot anyways. I don't mind Valentine, but I would love to go get one more guy.
There, or maybe even if they're not sold on Nazir Stackhouse, like your midseason Howard Green type pickup from 2010, if they could get, if a veteran nose would go a long ways, I think, in helping this defensive line.
I agree. I'm really curious about Stackhouse, man. He was somebody I really liked coming out from Georgia. My buddy Med, if you guys have seen my show, Shots from the Sideline, he talks heavily about him. My dad was big on him. I scouted him. I like him, but we're counting on rookies to play serious. Like this is when you're trying to make a championship run. These are things that can make a difference. The Chiefs won that Super Bowl 2 years ago, and the Philadelphia Eagles did last year because they hit on so many draft picks. We're either going to have to hit on those guys or we're going to have to go. Goody's going to have to make some more around the fringes moves. But I agree with you. That was one other spot. It just wasn't a weakness week 1 was defensive tackle. When I was thinking of the roster, looking at it after the offensive lineman pickup and then Micah, I was like, okay, it's maybe a vet receiver, definitely a vet DB, not even concerned about linebacker or safety at all. Not about edge. It's defensive tackle. I think you nailed it. Rob, we've gone for a while. Any thoughts?
I mean, yeah, I was during the draft season. I was loving myself some Trey Amos. He plays for the Commanders, doesn't he?
He
I believe
does.
he
Yeah,
does. Yeah, so
that was a good pickup.
we'll end
by
up
them.
seeing him. Yeah, I mean, I totally get it. A lot of this is riding on the health of Nate Hobbs. You know, he's a little bit more of an aggressive corner. He can come up and he can tackle, which you really love about him. But with that, you know, a lot of injuries, right? So, yeah, exactly right. Then you're counting on your defensive line and your edge rushers to just speed that up a little bit more faster, get pressure on the quarterback to throw off the plays and get sacks to be able to help out your secondary. But I completely agree. I mean, it depends too on Micah Robinson and Kamal Haddon coming in, you know, some change. Bo Melton, what's he going to be doing? He's looked solid in preseason training camp, but John, like you're alluding to, starting reps against AJ Brown, you know, Devontae, whatever it ends up being, wherever they end up lining him up, you know, yeah, that could definitely burn us if we're not getting home with our pass rush. So, yeah, I think Gouda is always looking at trying to improve, you know, the roster. I kind of look at that Rasul Douglas move that he made, you know, obviously more than a few years back. Absolutely love that. Not that you're going to find that every day on the market, but yeah,
That'd be a good one.
You know, if he can find somebody that can come in and immediately help out this team, if it feels like there's any concerns, I have no doubt that they're going to continue to look on that. But I think right now they're banking on the players that they have. And the new pass rush to get home and to help out the secondary.
Okay. Do you guys have any other Lions thoughts before we pivot to Washington? I want to get that. We've got a game in 2 days, if you guys can believe it. We play in less than 48 hours, which John said it after. That wasn't a Super Bowl, but it was a pretty awesome moral victory the way we destroyed Detroit. But now we got to test. This has been a problem for us against mobile quarterbacks in the past. But before we pivot to Washington, I'm going to be quiet. Do you guys have any final thoughts on Detroit? Anything else you got?
Always good to beat the Lions.
Yeah, especially after how much they've gloated the last couple of years. I've got a buddy who writes for Sports Illustrated Detroit, and he clowned on us a lot last year. And I've got some Bears fans that did as well. It's nice to think that the NFC North might run through Green Bay again. We still have 5 more divisional games, but we very easily could have been 0-6 in the division last year. We were fortunate to beat Chicago once, lost the other game to them. It's nice to start 1-0 in the division. That's the only way you're going to have a chance at winning the division and putting yourself in position for home fields or, you know, home field in the first round even. All right, Washington. They are, or sorry, Rod, what you got?
I was just going to say real quick on the Lions, and I talked about this with Jordan. I really do feel like their season will definitely depend on the interior of their offensive line. So Glasnow playing center, Mahogany playing left guard, and Tate Ratledge, you know, they're a right guard. We were able to get pressure. We were able to make Mahogany and Tate Ratledge look a little silly there. Now I get it. During the season, they will end up getting better, but you're trying to replace Zietler, who was really, really good in there, and probably the best center, if not definitely one of the top 3, and Frank Ragnow, who is just absolute. I mean, your center is the anchor rock of your offense, right? Too, calling out plays, protections, and whatnot too. So it's hard to replace elite centers like that. I get it. The Eagles did it with Kelsey, and they were able to win a Super Bowl with that. So I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm just saying it's all gonna depend on their offensive line, because if other teams are gonna be able to tee off on them, get pressure with 4, you know, it's gonna be tough for any team to be able to compete.
And it looks like they're struggling without Ben Johnson significantly. Dan Campbell's we're gonna find out what he's got. We had a good comment from one of my buddies, Cowboy Reg. He sticks by what he said. He says that they won the Parsons trade this year. Next, the Cowboys win the trade in 2 years when they get those late round picks. That'll be picks 32, hopefully back to back. You could win it all this season. Let's hit this really quick before we go to Washington. This is a good pivot point. What do you guys think of that? Rob, you want to start this one?
Yeah. I mean, Jerry Jones is just comical in itself.
Yes.
I mean, I get it. He's trying to do the Herschel Walker 2.0, even though that was just way, way, way more. For what we got to get Micah Parsons, I'd give that up all day, every day, 3 times and again. To be able to get an elite pass rusher. They're going to be trying to search for that same type of player in this draft. They got Ezeraku, I believe, that really speeds. He's speedster rusher out of Boston College, who I was really liking the tape on from him. I mean, they're trying to build for the future. They tried to commit and go all in the last couple of years. They had to pay CD, had to pay Dak, or having to pay a lot of people. Had to pay a lot Micah Parsons quite a bit. Obviously, not the number that Green Bay gave him, but it all depends on his draft picks, who he takes, and if they can come on the field immediately contribute. And whether that's to be seen, like Cowboy Reg says, we shall see. In 3, 4 years, 5 years on down the road. But this is like John says, it's Super Bowl is now. Our time is the next 3 years for this cap exponentially goes up. So it's kind of more of a time thing, but I absolutely love this because what was one of the main weaknesses, if not the biggest weakness for Green Bay last year, was our pass rush. That's why we ended up Jeff Hafley, had to blitz more to try and get some more people home, and Detroit Lions and other teams took advantage of that. So I love this for Green Bay. We shall see on the Cowboys front. They did not lay down against the Eagles. The Dallas Cowboys looked really competent. And I was really loving how their offensive line was holding. So
it looked like they were only missing an elite pass rusher. I wonder if Micah Parsons would have helped.
Or first and Kenny Clark back. Yeah, let's do that.
Kenny Clark is a great player, but this trade is a complete L for the Cowboys. You don't give up a guy who has over 50 sacks in 4 years, and he had 12 sacks in he only had 12 sacks in like 13 games last year. That's stupid talented. John, what do you think of the trade for the Cowboys and for us?
Look, if you want to win the trade in 2027 and 2028, that's fine, but you got to hit the picks. And hitting the picks in the late 20s is a lot harder, and the chances are you're not even going to have an opportunity to draft someone like Micah Parsons there. So it's certainly possible that the Cowboys are winning the trade in 2027 and 2028. But if you watch Micah Parsons put up 12 to 15 sacks a year in 25, 26, and 2027, I mean, wouldn't you rather that have for your team that Jerry Jones said it was all in last year and should still be this year?
I mean, he also drafted Taco Charlton in the first round, I believe.
And Mozzie Smith, who was a healthy scratch this week.
Mozzie Smith, man, I did not expect him to be that bad. He's been such a bust for them. Like, he's literally been almost a no-show for the Cowboys. Like, it's been one of the worst first-round picks in the last couple of years of any team, honestly. He's healthy scratch. What is he in his third, beginning of his third season? You don't want that. You want to see what you saw from Van Ness, where you see some flashes. At worst, that's what you want to see from your first round picks. But Van Ness is starting to show some potential. You don't want your guys not playing. I think it's a complete L, and I think it was Jerry's ego. I think he needed to deal with that earlier, and he waited too long. I live near Dallas, if you guys didn't know. So I actually lived in Arizona for almost 20 years as well, Rob, in Phoenix. And I grew up in Michigan for like 12 years. I've lived in Dallas for the last, 6-7 years now. And Jerry waited too long with Dak both times with CD, and then the contracts became more expensive. Some of that's the players want to wait, but I think Jerry dragged his feet a little bit, and he did it with Micah. And then he did this 90s strategy where he didn't want to deal with the agent. And that's, if you watch the doc, it's great, the Cowboys documentary on Netflix, but we're not in the 1990s. We're in the mid 2020s. You got to deal with agents. You don't just circumvent. And the way he's running the Cowboys organization, he's a damn good marketer. And yes, they looked solid week 1, but I feel for Cowboys fans because they deserve better. Dallas fans overall, losing Luka and Micah the same year, that sucks. Seriously.
I do not feel bad for Cowboys fans at all.
I don't really, but you almost want to.
All right, Reg.
Reg, you rock, dude. Okay, let's pivot to this Washington game because I was going to try to stick around an hour. Wife is hanging out with a friend, so if you guys got a little over an hour, great. But let's hit this Washington game. This is a big one. We are 3.5-point favorites. Injury report. I mean, obviously Christian Watson's out. Did you guys see any of the major injuries? Eckler's questionable from what I heard. Reed is expected to play. I mean, he played on the foot. We've got like 10 guys questionable, but I think most of them play week 2. Maybe
Walker
Zach Tom
didn't-
doesn't.
I thought Walker showed up with the quad too on the injury report as well.
I'm seeing Banks, Wicks, Hobbs, Parsons, Reed, Melton, Tom, Golden, Sorrell, and Cox are questionable, which is a lot.
But you got to remember, there's no other designation now. There's only questionable or doubtful, so there's no more probable. So some of those guys probably would be probable, like a lot of the guys on the injury report. Like I don't imagine Aaron Banks was a DNP today or yesterday. We didn't get a Wednesday. No, it is Tuesday today.
Yeah,
he probably would be a probable.
like Parsons is going to play and Reed's going to play, in my opinion. Wicks will probably play, from what I've heard.
So your coin toss is probably Zach Tom, and then
Golden.
So we'll see what happens. But it on a short week, it's hard. But I'm not overly concerned about anything on the injury report.
They've got Eckler questionable, Noah Brown, and then their punter. That's what I'm seeing on Yahoo. But we're still 3.5-point favorites at home. Through week 1, their defense was outstanding. But they played the Giants. It's one game. Most of the bets and the money are on Green Bay, like 80% right now. But this is going to be an interesting test because this team, I was thinking talking about Washington, I thought they would regress a little this season just because you don't have outstanding talent on offense around Jaden Daniels. You've got makeshift running backs. You do have Scary Terry, who I like. Debo, if he's got it left in the tank, your tight ends are okay. The offensive line, they did upgrade, but it's not like, they don't even have a guy on the level of Josh Jacobs, in my opinion. It's mostly done through Jaden Daniels on the offense. They did go out and make some upgrades on D, but it still doesn't look like an elite defense. I could be wrong. It wasn't last year. This is going to be, I think, by far the biggest key is, can we lock up Jaden Daniels and keep him in the pocket and make him beat us with his arm, which is still kind of a scary proposition. John, why don't you go first on this one? What are you thinking on this game? What are the keys to victory?
So I think the key is taking advantage of where the Commanders' defense appears to be weak. I don't know how much you've looked into their defensive turnover from last year to this year, but if you looked at their big pass rushers last year, Dante Fowler is no longer with the team. Jonathan Allen is no longer with the team. And even Clelin Ferrell is no longer with the team. That's 3 of their top 6 pass rushers in terms of getting after the quarterback, just statistically last year. They replaced them with Javon Kinlaw and Eddie Goldman from Atlanta, but they didn't add anybody on the edge. That tells me that Jordan Love is probably going to have time to throw in this game. And
Von Miller.
Yeah. Von Miller's around too?
Yeah, he's on their team.
I missed that signing. Okay, we'll add that to
my notes later. The aging Von Miller.
So old that we didn't even notice him in week 1. But they haven't added really, really much to their pass rush at all, other than Von Miller, who I just saw like a couple of weeks ago. He was telling people that he only wins with athleticism, and he never really learned to develop pass rush moves. When you talk about moves, he said that's overrated. I never learned pass rush moves. So throw Von Miller out there at age 36, sure. But if they can close him down, it's going to be, I think, a long day for the Commanders trying to get after Jordan Love. And beyond that, I think just let Micah Parsons go against their right tackle there, Josh Connerly, the rookie who had a rough go in week 1, and then away you go.
I was wondering why they let go of Fowler. I think it's because they picked up Lattimore, and I think that ate up more of their cap because they picked up Lattimore at the trade deadline.
Did you see the report right after Parsons got traded that the Packers were the number 2 team for Dante Fowler?
I did, and I also saw that they were in on Hendrickson before he signed the 1-year extension. So the Packers were like going after pass rushers left and right.
That's a fun historical what if now. So if Fowler signs with the Packers, do they even go after Micah Parsons if all this plays out? Do they have the cap space to make that happen?
God, we got Micah Parsons instead. Even though I like Dante Fowler, he was pretty solid last year at 10 sacks.
And it wasn't like he signed for a lot either.
No, wasn't it like
$8 million?
$8? He was, that's right. It was not a very big deal at all. So Yeah, man. Honestly, I would have been fine with Hendrickson, even though he's older than Micah. He's like 5 years older. I think we got the better player, who might still get better. I would rather take a 26-year-old pass rusher, even though Hendrickson at this point is a little bit more productive. He's been the best pass rusher in the NFL the last couple of years. I still am happy we ended up with Micah. If it had been Trey Hendrickson, I wouldn't have been, you're never going to get upset when you get a Trey Hendrickson, but that's crazy that the what if there that we almost end up with Fowler. But I think they put so much into Lattimore, they went away from the pass rush, put a band-aid on with Von Miller, and went out and addressed the secondary with the Amos draft pick. I think they hit their secondary instead of their pass rush, which is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
You got to remember, too, they're going up against the New York Giants offensive line. That offensive line is probably one of the worst. If not, it's definitely up there.
Yeah.
Russell Wilson, who can't move anymore.
Had a good game. Let's just put that for a little bit of context. I mean, this game's going to come down to what I believe is just containing Jaden Daniels, like not letting him. Last year, I thought we did a pretty good job of that on some of the running quarterbacks that we faced. But if he beats you with his legs, that's going to make it, a little bit difficult. But we do have some speed on our linebacking crew. They can do a little bit of some quarterback spy if he ends up doing, some designed quarterback runs. They're good, man. They're going to spread it out. I mean, they do have Laramie Tunsil there on the I think he's the left tackle, but the rest of that offensive line, specifically on the interior, is not that good. So I would expect a lot more of what we saw against the Lions. And I think we have a good shot. I mean, I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I think it's going to be a lot closer. I think the Commanders are still a really, really good team, and they're definitely going to compete this year. But, I also think us taking care of an aging Bobby Wagner, I still cannot believe that guy's in the league. He's got to be like 50 years old by this time.
35, and he's still really good. I have him in my dynasty league, and he's still effective. But that you just nailed it. Washington's actually one of the oldest teams in the NFL. People don't think about that because of Jaden Daniels, but Scary Terry's 30. We're the youngest team in the NFL going against one of the oldest right here. Actually, it's going to be very interesting.
I mean, if you can get some matchups on Luvu and Wagner, some of our tight ends or wide receivers, I think we're going to be able to have some mismatches there. So I really and plus too, Matt LaFleur's owned the Dan Quinn defensive scheme, right? Dallas Cowboys 2023. So historically, we have done really, really well against them. A little bit older of a roster, like you're saying. They do have weapons: Samuel, Brown, and then Scary Terry for sure. We'll see if Eckler plays, and they got Wild Bill there, who I did pick up in fantasy just to throw on some fantasy in like the 10th or 11th round for sure. I'd probably be on my bench this Thursday, but I like our chances. I do think it'll be a lot closer, but it really boil it down to simplicity. If you can contain Jaden Daniels and get some pressure on him, limit his rushes outside of the pocket, and design quarterback runs, I think we can stay in this game and kind of shred up that defense.
And they actually, I just looked it up. They are the oldest team. So we're the youngest going against the oldest, literally. Their average age is over 28 and a half. We're in the 25s. We're like 3 years younger than they are. But they do a Bobby Wagner. They've got some defensive players in that secondary. I think, like John said it, and Rob, I think we're going to have to attack. I think Josh Jacobs is going to be the focal point here. Test that defense. Even though the defensive tackles are decent, I think I think it may be a run first game plan, but we'll find out. It also depends on if Golden and Wicks are both going to play. If they're both out and Reed is banged up and we're a little depleted receiver, the game plan may change by necessity. I'm hoping to see a little Savion this season. This may be a game if a couple guys don't play where we see them. Before we get into score thoughts, John, you have anything else before we hit score predictions?
No, I'm ready to throw out some score predictions. I guess I can go first. Let's say Packers. Let's say Packers 26, Commanders 23. I almost said the other name that they used to be, but so 26-23 would be the Packers not covering, if that's of interest to you. But I think the Packers score a little bit more, but it's a close game down the stretch.
I like this one, 31-21. That's a good score prediction. I do think they win by 10. I'm actually going to go I think our defense steps up. I think I'm going to go 27-17 Packers. They win by 10. I think they cover the spread.
27-24 Packers, and I was right in line with you, John, just a couple of points off. But yeah, I don't think that they cover. So if you were going to be betting on this game, you might want to buy a point down to 2.5. So
I could see it. I could see them winning by 3. Who do you guys think is the player of the game? Rob, if you had to pick for the Packers, who do you think stands out on offense?
I'm going to go Matthew Golden in this one. I think they get him some more targets, some more catches. I think you can just do a lot of different things with him. You can move him around. You can motion him. Like I said, some of the mismatches there on some of the aging linebackers. I'm not too scared of Lattimore and or Trey Amos. This will be a second game. So I'm going to go ahead and say Matthew Golden.
Cool.
I feel like I could pick Matthew Golden every week this season until the inevitable breakout comes, because I think it is going to come. He's going to have one of those games where it's like 8 for 140 and 2 touchdowns. At some point this season, it's going to happen.
He'll be on my bench when that happens.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I've got him freaking starting in one of my leagues and benched in the other, and I need a breakout.
So I won't go Golden this week, but I do think Josh Jacobs is going to have a much better statistical performance this week. I think the Lions were really keyed on shutting him down, and I don't think the Commanders are going to be able to do the same thing. They've got some interesting pieces in their run defense. I just think the Packers can outclass them there.
Who do you guys think is the if you had to give a defensive, like if you were like John, you are, I'm hoping you show everybody in a minute your broadcasting awards. That's pretty freaking cool, dude. If you were picking a defensive MVP or just player of the game, who do you think stands out for the Packers?
Well, it'd be super easy to go Micah Parsons, but I'm going to go with Micah Parsons' favorite Packers defensive player, Edgerrin Cooper. I think Edgerrin Cooper is going to have like a dozen tackles again. He had 8 stops according to Pro Football Focus last week, which is an interesting metric. But yeah, I think he's going to have another big game, and he'll be one of the reasons that Jaden Daniels maybe is not able to run as much.
Interesting. He had 8 stops.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, he had 12 tackles, 8 solo tackles in week 1.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's the thing about this team that's special is you got guys like him on the defense. You got McKinney. Now you've got a guy on each level. You got a pass rusher. You got a linebacker. If Quay can step up, that's another one. But then you got a McKinney, and then you've got some other playmakers. That's what makes the defense unique. I like that pick. Rob, who do you think?
I'm going to go Devontae Wyatt. I've been calling for his breakout for a long time. I thought he had a really good game. PFF, I think, had him as the best run defender for us. I could be wrong on about 14, 15 snaps. But, man, I love Devontae Wyatt. I think him and Colby Wooden, right, again, too. Talk about Wooden, if he can hold up and be not elite for us, but at least really, really solid. I mean, that's just going to help out, get pressure up the middle. Devontae Wyatt would be the one for me.
If it's not Micah Parsons, because he is playing his former rival from the NFC East, I think he's going to get another sack. I think it'll be Xavier McKinney with an interception. Evan Williams had that one on Sunday that was special, but I think it's
really good.
He did. I mean, there were so many guys that played good. Like I almost said Rashawn Gary, he had a sack and a half, which is huge for him because he had 7.5 last year, and he hasn't quite been like an A-level pass rusher if you were like putting grades on this, but he benefited so much. Van Ness had a half a sack, Wyatt had a sack, and then Micah had that sack. But I'm looking to see if McKinney gets started on the interception train like he did last year. So I'm going to go with him or Micah, I think is going to be it. Calling it here. Go Matthew Golden, breakout 2 touchdown game for 100 yards receiving. I like it.
Off the bench into the start.
Guys, this was awesome. I love just talking Packers. I really appreciate you guys both coming on. John, it's up to you, man. But if you want to show everybody those awards, that'd be so cool.
All right. So John Lore here. I can let me stand up here. Show everybody what I'm wearing. So back in the day, I don't have an interesting job anymore, at least not for media purposes. But back in the day, I was a broadcast journalist, and I worked for 620 WTMJ in Milwaukee. That used to be the flagship radio station for the Packers radio network. It isn't anymore. But yeah, I'm an award-winning broadcaster. This is the second place award for best newscast in 2013 for large market in Wisconsin. That's the Wisconsin Broadcasters Association. This one is a first place award for live reporting, which was for a story that I did about a fire at Northwestern Mutual in downtown Milwaukee, and I was live on the scene for that, and I won an award for it.
Wow.
So yeah, I used to be on the radio, and now I'm just on a fake internet radio show a couple times a week. But yeah,
I enjoy listening to it, man. Though I caught wind of it. I was looking at Packer podcast this summer, and I saw you, and I was like, "Oh, this is really good stuff." Because yeah, seriously, you put on a good show, man. I appreciate.
Thank you,
it.
appreciate that.
And what do you do? What do you? Can I ask? I was looking at your stuff today in prep for this. Do you do stuff for Acme Packing Company?
I do. I'm actually an associate editor at acmepackingcompany.com. I've been with them since 2016
Oh,
there as
wow.
well. So yeah,
Very cool.
This is my 10th season with them and 10th season of doing the Power Sweep and Blue 58. And yeah,
Hopefully it's Super Bowl winning season too.
yeah, I've often thought about what I would do if the Packers won a Super Bowl. Like, would I want to keep going, or would I just want to be like, we're going to retire and stop with the last game that I cover being a Super Bowl? But I guess we'll wait and see if the Packers win a Super Bowl first.
Yeah.
You know, I've thought about that. I was like, how long do I want to do this show? But I've been enjoying the 2 years, and like when I started 2 years ago, it was literally just my dad and my wife watching. So it's fun that there's actual people watching it now. But I had my aunt actually passed away, and I thought about quitting after that. But she was one of the people that watched the show. So let's just win a Super Bowl, and I'll think about it. But I almost went for broadcasting back instead of like 15 years ago. I actually did. I was an editor for a newspaper in high school and college, and this kind of scratches that itch. I love teaching, but getting to do this, and it's just kind of talking Packers. I just think it's fun. So I hope that they do win the Super Bowl. I hope you don't have to make that hard choice. But yeah,
I think I would probably keep going. It's just an interesting thought experiment, because I don't know what the end of the whole project looks like, but
as long as
figure that out sometime.
As long as you're still enjoying it, I think that's the key, right?
Right. Yeah, that's really all it comes down to.
And yeah. Sorry.
I was just going to say, John, you work with Justice Mosqueda then quite a bit, right?
Yep. We hang out in the APC Slack a lot, and we talk with those guys every single day.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Yeah, because I've heard him on several. Yeah. I've heard Andy talk about him a lot. So yeah, that's really cool, man.
Yep. Justice is a cool guy. Read his stuff. He's doing some truly psychotic things, and I mean that as a compliment. Tracking some of the Packers snap counts. He had a piece up on Monday morning after the afternoon game talking about how, like, where the Packers snap counts broke down by like personnel grouping. It was within 12 hours of the game ending. It was pretty remarkable. So yeah.
I didn't, you know, what's funny is I've been on y'all's website, but not in a minute. I didn't realize how much stuff he did for y'all. Like 5 of the articles on acmepackingcompany.com are all him.
Well, he works full time for Vox Media, the company that owns APC. So he's the only full-time employee at APC.
That's really cool. See, that'd be, I love teaching, but that would be a lot of fun. That's awesome, man. Seriously, very cool. What do you have any so you got your shows coming up? Do you have anything unique or special coming up other than your traditional shows, John?
Well, we actually relaunched something last week that had been a staple feature of the show for a couple of years in the off season. We used to do something called the Blue 58 Book Club every spring, where I would go chapter by chapter through a book and just kind of talk about, you know, what we could learn about it. And now I'm kind of trying to ramp that up a little bit. So we're working on a project called the Football Canon, and we're trying to basically give people a list of the great football books out there. So I launched it last week with some of my favorites, just talking about a few of them. And then once a month after that, we're going to talk about a different book. And coming up here in 2 weeks, we're going to look at Bart Starr's autobiography. So it's a good read. And if you haven't checked it out, it's probably the closest thing that you could ever hope for as far as like a tell-all from Bart Starr. And there's a lot of stuff in there about his personal life, his family life, what it was like playing for Vince Lombardi, obviously, but he went through a lot of stuff in his early life and dealt with a lot of challenges too. And unfortunately, there's some really sad stuff in the book too. Like, he lost one of his two sons to a pretty serious drug problem. And unfortunately, like, the last chapter of the book is him talking about how happy he is for that son, that it seems like he's finally like put his demons behind him and he's really improving. And then, like, I think it was 2 years after the book published, he died. It was something like that. But it was, you really get to see, like, Bart Starr, I think, is kind of almost a mythical figure in Packers history, not just for what he did on the field, but he's like Captain America. Like in Age of Ultron, Ultron calls Steve Rogers God's perfect soldier. Like, that's Bart Starr. But
good Marvel reference too.
I was going to say,
it's
like,
Marvel reference.
You see it in the book. Like, he might seem like God's perfect soldiers, but he went through a lot to get to that point. Like, a lot of difficult stuff as a kid. He had a brother. Like, he grew up, him and another brother, and his dad was like a hardline military guy. He was gone a lot, like served overseas while Bart was a youngster. And then his brother died of a tetanus infection. He stepped on something that was rusty and he died. And his dad straight up told him, like, I wish it was you. Like, I wish it was you that died.
Wow.
Like, it should have been you. And like, just that he carried with him for his whole life. And there's a lot of stuff like that in the book. So that's what I'm working on.
That's
that nice uplifting project. But we'll do some other books. The one we're doing after that is going to be Ray Nitschke's book, Mean on Sunday. And he's he is mean on Sunday, but he's like a really happy, like, well-adjusted sort of guy, which was a little bit surprising to read too.
That's good. You might, I'm going to, if you stay on for just a minute after when we end in a little bit, there's a guy I had on last season. I'm going to have him back on hopefully sometime this season. I've got a busy slate, but his name is Ken Crippen. He does the Football Learning Academy, and he's an NFL historian who wrote a book on the 1960s Packers. He's also a huge Bills guy, but he's done interviews with some former Packers. He had Brian Urlacher on last year.
Hold on just a second. Do I have?
You might have the book. You might. You might. Yeah,
I think I've got it somewhere.
Ken Crippen. Yeah, I bet you do. He was so cool. Football Learning Academy is a thing where they give back. It's an online learning academy about football, and they give back to players that have retired to help with medical stuff. And he does a podcast about it. He had Urlacher on last year, Chris Berman. He had Mark Trestman. He's had coaches, players on his show, and it's mostly informational, but he knew his stuff. He is, like, seriously, John and Rob, you guys would have loved him. I'm curious if I gotta check out which book it was he wrote. I know at least one about the Packers though.
He might have written Before They Were the Packers. I think that's his book.
I thought, yeah. No, the 1966 Packers, Profiles of Vince Lombardi's Super Bowl I champions.
Okay.
So, yeah, just I honestly feel like I read it a long time ago, but getting to hear him talk about the book was pretty cool. So
I think I know his name, and I think I've seen it come up in the. I'm a member of the Pro Football Researchers Association.
Oh, and, you are very cool.
It's neat. It's not like some honor or anything. Anybody who has the $35 can join. So you could join anytime.
Okay.
But I've seen his name come up in that context, I think.
Yeah, I can tell you right now.
Well, you got another book club member and Rob Ralph, John.
Okay.
That's awesome.
Good.
Rob, what do you have coming up, bud, on the show?
Yeah, still every Wednesday and Saturday, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. We would love someday to ramp that up to be a lot more than that, but with busy full-time jobs. I have 3 kids myself. Jordan's got a kid and another one on the way. So maybe one day, dreams of becoming another Barstool Sports Media epic brand. I might have to be more than a few years away if we can ever get to something like that. But that, to me, anyway, that'd be the platonic dream scenario. Jordan,
me too.
Other thoughts, but
that's kind of my dream too. But I'm just realizing that takes a long time, and I'm just kind of enjoying the ride. Had Quentin Jammer on the show last month, former Charger. That was freaking amazing. And
Nice.
yeah, that
Nice.
was
That's
cool.
cool.
That was fun, man. Getting to hear his stories was pretty legit. I'd love to I'd love to work on getting a Packer on. That's my goal for, former or current. I don't care. That's my dream. Once I have that, that's going to be it. But I do have Blaine Bishop coming on next week, former Titan DB. He does ESPN radio over in Tennessee. I'm excited about that. And I'm having him on with my Titans buddy. So that's going to be just a ball. I'm excited for that. That'll be fun. And the other one that was cool was having the head coach of William and Mary on. I had him on in the beginning of August, and that was pretty cool. The dude, like, it was so cool to get to talk to a head coach because, like, not only did he play for the Cowboys and he'd coach with a lot of people, but just getting to talk to life with the guy, that was awesome. So, yeah, just the interviews this year. This was another one that was just a blast getting to talk with you guys. Rob, I already know you, but getting it every time you come on, I have a lot of fun. You guys do a great show. And John, this was awesome, man. Seriously.
Good to be on. Glad to be here.
Yeah. So Rob, where can everybody find you, man?
Sounds Gouda, YouTube, only with one A.
Spotify,
Apple Podcasts. Yep. Always looking to bring on new guests too as well. So hint, hint, wink, wink, John. If you ever want to come on and talk some ball with Jordan, you'd love Jordan too. He's very, very knowledgeable as well. So
I think I owe you an appearance too. I don't know if I ever.
Yeah, and Isaac.
Yes, I don't know if I came on last year. My bad. So whenever you want me.
Yep, absolutely. Hit me up.
So that's where we'll be at. But no, I love talking ball with you guys, and it's been a blast. So
thanks, man. Appreciate you. John, thank you. I am going to hop on the first show for Mr. First Down tomorrow, his show for the network tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern, 9:30 actually. And then Friday night, Undefeated Live will be hopping on with me and Peter. We'll be talking Packers Commanders after the game. Hopefully we're talking about a win because if we start 2-0 and then we roll into Cleveland, I'm feeling pretty good about the beginning of the season. I don't want to overlook anybody. They looked good week one, but this is the big, huge test before the bye, and then we get Dallas and their Micah revenge game. So I'm hoping we get another win and show some progress on offense. But I appreciate all the Packers fans hanging out. You guys rock. John, it was awesome meeting you, dude. Very cool. Rob, it was great to see you again, dude. I'd love to have you guys both on again this season. And if you ever want to, if we can work out a time to bring your co-host on too, that'd be cool. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Hard enough to get him on just our show. So I'm working on that.
This is my one night of the week I can actually do stuff because the kiddo's at gymnastics and my wife hangs out with her friend on Tuesdays because I usually either see movies or do this. So yeah. But thank you guys. Appreciate you. Everybody watching, thank you. Please go subscribe to Sounds Gouda. Go check out Blue 58 and please check out Fun Football Podcast. Thank you, everybody. See you again soon.